Hello, everybody. Welcome along to your, I was going to say instant match reaction, but match reaction here in the Rangers Rabble podcast. Firstly, I just want to say a massive well done to Alex and AJ for getting through that watch along, for having to sit and watch that shite for 90 minutes. Congratulations, boys. Well done. Honestly, I've got no words for our football club right now. And look, I want to say this before we get started. There will be many Celtic fans in the comments. And don't get annoyed, don't get pissed off, because we deserve, not the fans, but Rangers Football Club deserves the slagging that it's getting. We are truly atrocious from top to bottom. We are a joke and an embarrassment of a football club. And that's me putting it mildly. So if the situation was the other way around, we would all be doing exactly the same thing. So there's no point in letting it annoy you or get to you, because we've got it coming. Unfortunately, that's where the club has left us. I'm joined today by Bryan and Robert. Bryan, how are you?
I just wish I didn't watch that. But here we are. It really is alarm bell time. If it wasn't before, it certainly is now. And the pressure is just absolutely ramped up on the manager. It really is just a sorry state of affairs, as you say, and he's got no hiding place now, and he's got a difficult job ahead of him now. If it wasn't, it was hard before, but it's even harder now. The fan base is starting to turn, and I'm afraid when that happens, there's only one outcome usually.
Robert, how you doing? And just following on from what Bryan said there, the fan base isn't starting to turn. The fan base is gone.
Aye, look at the comments there. It's a watershed moment. It feels like lovely for somebody to fat shame me as well at 3 minutes past 3. That was really kind of RFC forever. Beautiful. Look, that game was absolutely honking. You talk about an advert for Scottish football. If you're watching that from the outside, you'd be turning it off straight away. You know, how many times do we have to sit here and say this team lack intensity, this team lack mentality? Just like it's the same movie over and over again. You know, a year in charge for Bleak. Come on, I don't think we're any further on than we were under Michael Bleak, to be honest.
Right, let's just dive into it. Robert, straight to you. I was just about to say, Bill, come on, time up.
I feel like the writing's on the wall, because I don't see that he's helping himself. You know, you look at today's game and he's kind of reactive. He's not kind of forward thinking, making changes to try and change the game. He reacts to things that happen in the park. So I don't see a style of play that we've been promised. He's put a noose around his own neck. We're saying that we're going to come alive in October, November, because we're in October, November now, and we look dreadful. So I don't think he's the man that's going to win a title for Glasgow Rangers. That's my honest assessment. Will he go? It depends how vociferous the crowd are in terms of making that loud and vocal out there, because I think the board have obviously backed him with a contract. Never mind the money they've given him. They've backed him with a bumper extended contract. Will they sack him? I don't think so, unless it get out of hand in terms of the swelling from the support.
Can I also just say, folks, there's like 1,700 people watching on YouTube alone, so it's going to be almost near impossible for me to keep up with the comments. I will try my absolute best to keep up with as many comments as I possibly can.
You can just start all the ones that are requesting me to drink Slim Fast and things like that. That'd be great.
If people are fat shaming you, God knows what they're saying about me, Robert. That's all I'm going to say. God knows what they're saying about me. I'm almost Bryan, lost for words. We've spoke so much, and people have been saying for so long, Clement has to go, and I've been saying to myself, no, it's a rebuild. The board haven't really backed him that much. He's not been in the door that long, blah, blah, blah. It's just been excuses, Bryan. For me, I don't see a style of play. I don't see what he's attempting to do. I don't see any football player in that Rangers team that he's made better. I just do not see any substitutions, team selections, every single thing that he does for me, Bryan. And it's just me. Who am I? Like the comments are saying, a fat guy that does a podcast. But for me, Bryan, everything that he does is wrong.
Yeah, it's almost like a scattergun approach when the subs happen. He doesn't really try to change things. It's like for like. It's almost as though he's throwing people on in the hope that something's going to happen rather than actually trying to make something happen. As Robert said, he's far too reactive instead of proactive. He doesn't, like, you could see at half-time something wasn't right, and he did nothing at half-time, and he waited 5-10 minutes and then made changes. Why not make changes at half-time? Why wait 5-10 minutes into the second half? Nothing was going to change. Nothing was going to get better. The time was to change at half-time. I mean, for me, I would have actually made changes in the first half, let alone when he actually made them. It's the fact that he doesn't see when things are wrong very quickly, and as Robert says, he doesn't react quick enough. It's always like when the situation's gone, or we've lost a goal, or when things start to go wrong, he reacts. Do things before things go wrong, and I'm afraid he's very much on the back foot, if not falling off the cliff now. He's really in a sorry state of affairs, the manager.
I just can't see a way back from Robert. We can, let me put it this way, right? We've got St Mirren. We've got Europe midweek, which right now I could not give a monkeys about, right? Genuinely couldn't care. Then we've got St Mirren, and then we've got Aberdeen, right? Even if he beats St Mirren, right? And then right now, from where I'm sitting, I do not see us laying a glove on Aberdeen, right? From where I sit right now. But even if we go up there and beat Aberdeen, there's still no enthusiasm, because still nobody's sitting there believing that we're going to do anything this season.
Look, the two teams above us, their supporters are excited to go and watch their football team at the minute. I can't remember the last time I was excited to watch this team. Red flags for me, we get beat at Celtic Park. He comes out and he's on about 6-0 against Ross County. We've been beaten today. He's coming out and talking about, past games where he felt we were decent last couple of weeks. You're only as good as your last match at Rangers. You've got to be winning these games, putting them to bed, and then moving on to the next one. So I've got no doubt that we'll St Mirren were really, really poor yesterday. I've no doubt we'll dispatch them in next Sunday. But that game at Pittodrie is massive. And do you know what? A defeat there, I think, would end it for him. I really do. I don't think he survives that.
Honestly, right now, the way that and I know, look, we all say things, and I thought an hour after the game I would have calmed down a wee bit. I haven't really. But I don't even care about the Aberdeen game. I genuinely, right now, as I sit here, I don't care, because I don't see where we go from here. Even if we beat Aberdeen, I just don't see anything. Kelly Pye, thank you very much for becoming a member. I think maybe already was or rejoined. I'm not sure.
He said earlier that he reignited his membership, so well done to him.
Thank you very much for supporting the podcast. As most of you know, or new people joining, we've recently took the podcast full time. I pick my moments. So if as many people as possible, if you could join up as a member, or just even like and share and subscribe and all that good stuff, every little helps the podcast. Charles with a super chat. He has no plan, no style of play. Club's a shambles from top to bottom. You look at the sheep. I need any little laugh today, guys. I need it. They have heart and bottle now with a new boss. Don't give me the transition push. PC will go by his own hand. Bryan, I mean, there's nothing in there you disagree with, is there?
No, absolutely not. This is the difference. We got that sort of bounce when he came in, and everybody thought, he did really well in his start, and then I think the start of this year was the turning point when we somehow managed to haul ourselves out of a hole and get ourselves in a title race, and then that went sort of up in smoke, and then ever since then it's just been a downward spiral. I'm afraid he's, as I said before, when you start to lose the fans, it's a very difficult place to come back from. He's now went, I can't remember what the stats were, about goals away from home. It's probably the lowest in the league. I mean, that is frightening as well, to have a club like us have one of the lowest.
1 in 4, Bryan. One goal in 4 away games.
I mean, that is just totally unacceptable. I cannot believe when I seen that stat, I was literally gobsmacked. And yeah, it's, as you say, Martin, I really can't see us getting anything up at Aberdeen, the way they're playing, the way they're, fighting for each other, the way they're, just their style of play. The manager, they buy into the manager's sort of tactics, and, I just don't see us getting anything up there. I really don't.
I'll repeat myself. right now, from where I sit, I don't care. I honestly don't care. I've lost all faith in the manager, faith in the players, faith in the board. We don't even have a board. Who am I trying to kid, Robert? We've got nobody at this football club to actually help us move forward. I mean, I don't even know why I'm getting angry, Robert, or surprised by any of this.
Well, that's the sort of follow on. You know, we're all kind of sitting here, and people in the comments. There's been a couple of caps locks being hit and Clement out typed. Would you trust this board to go again and pick another manager? Because the ones they've picked last,
who picks it? Who they pick the manager? Who picks them?
Well, yeah, a point well made. Me and kind of Bryan were talking beforehand. We need, some younger people in the club. You know, innovative, try to move this club forward, take us on to a different level. Because at the minute it's rudderless, and that's feeding in to performances on the park as well. It's just an absolute mess. When you think it can't get any worse, it does. So evidently, being a Rangers supporter, so people saying get King back in and stuff like this is always I think there needs to be a bit of calm. Take it in, sit on it for a day, and then reflect, because the scattergun comes out and people start. Everyone's better when they've been away for the club. I think it was Stuart Wright said Dave King made some mistakes as well when he was at Rangers. So I don't know if he's the answer, but certainly people.
I don't know what the answer is, Robert. But something, anything, because Celtic are going to win the league probably by about 15, 20 points, right? Because as great as Aberdeen have been, and I don't want to turn this into the Aberdeen and Celtic show, right? Aberdeen will drop points throughout the season. They will lose games that they don't think that they should lose, because that's just what happens. They don't have the squad to be consistent throughout a full season. Now, that's not me saying that they're a poor team. That's just what will happen. Remember,
Martin, they've got the manager.
No, listen. I get
very important.
I get that. I 100. The one.
They haven't got the squad depth.
That's the word I'm looking for, right? They haven't got the squad. Remember, Hearts won like the first 9 games or something, and then fell off the edge of a cliff. Aberdeen won't fall off the edge of a cliff. They'll keep going the way they're going, but they're not going to be as consistent as what Celtic will be. And Celtic will go on and win the league rather comfortably. But Bryan, with the current situation that we have at Rangers right now, I don't even think we're guaranteed to finish third. Honestly, I know that might sound mental, and people will say, "Oh, Martin, you're overreacting. Calm down." I don't think I am.
I think we joked about it maybe a few weeks ago that we'll finish second, no bother. That's it's even crazy to think. But now when you're looking at it, it's certainly a harsh reality. It really, when you think you can go up to Aberdeen and lose there, that's 9 points behind, and you don't see as you both said, you certainly don't see this Rangers team clawing any form of points back, because you don't trust them to go and get a win anywhere. I mean, even at home to sort of like bottom of the league, you're actually sort of wondering if they're going to actually perform and get a win. It really is, as I said before, he's dug himself into this hole by, as Robert was saying, we'll be better by October, November. Well, that's the time now. We're here, and it's actually worse. So he's really up against it. And as I say, if we go up to Aberdeen and we lose there, that's 9 points behind them. Well, if things go wrong in the next couple of games, certainly Aberdeen, then he surely cannot withstand.
Bryan, this was a Kilmarnock team that was sitting 9th the day before we played them, and haven't started the season well at all. There is, you can talk, and people in the comments are talking about investment, and they're talking about this, and they're talking about that, blah blah blah, lot of shite, right? If you are a manager and you cannot get players who have cost you millions of pounds, we've got a £5 million midfielder in Mo Diamande. We've got a £4 million so-called striker in Cyril Dessers. We've got a £2 million defender who came for FC20 last season, who was one of the top centre-backs in the league, who helped them finish in their highest position ever. We've got a guy, Jack Butland, who we were all shouting about last season, should be close to getting in the England team. We've got John Souttar, who just got man in a match against fucking Portugal. And we've now got a manager that can't take a team down to Rugby Park against a team who have started pish in the campaign. And What, offers up that dribble? No, Brian. There's no excuse.
No,
None.
Absolutely not. There really isn't. I think Kilmarnock had won one game all season up till today in the league, so there's no way.
The amount of goals they've shipped this season already.
Exactly.
And we never really knocked at the door, really. I know Dessers is that one that comes off the bar, but we didn't create an awful lot today, which was really worrying.
No, and the thing about it is as well, when you go back to that stat, we scored 1 goal away from home and 4. That's unforgivable. That is just ridiculous. And as you say, Martin, pretty much everybody that he's signed has actually went backwards. There's nobody that you could say has come in and made a huge difference. I think maybe you could maybe single out Barron. That's the only one that you could say that's actually looked good. The rest of them have looked ordinary, if not awful, for most of the season. So it's unforgivable. But again, this manager now is on a sticky wicket, and it's only going to get worse for him.
Borvad, thank you very much for becoming a channel member and helping to support the podcast. Thank you very much, my friend. Thank you for the support. I've got a few super chats to get through. James Cameron, thank you very much for the support, buddy. I am all for sacking Clement right now, but do I trust the board of charlatans to make the right choice? Do I expletive? Even though I've already gave a few, I don't know why I'm not saying it, but excuse my language, but I'm raging. It gets back to that point, and we'll come to the game, by the way, at some point. I don't know when, but we'll come to the game in a minute. But Robert, it gets back to what we're saying. There's nobody at the top of the club to make any sort of decision. John Gilligan now can come out with all the fancy interviews that he wants and can come out and say, oh, Letham's helping. Oh, we've got help in here. We've got help there. We're doing this. We're doing that. Shut up.
It's not good enough, is it, at all? So, look, if you're gonna sack him, you need to make sure you're getting obviously someone in quickly, and it's someone of quality. Someone's just put in there Barry Ferguson, Kenny Miller, and Kevin Thomas. We need to wrap that part up straight away. But yeah, look, as I say, I don't think he survives, another defeat. And if it's, in the next couple of, 10 days, I think we're at Pittodrie. So, but then it's who do you bring in? Kevin Muscat's name has been rattled about in here. Obviously, Derek McInnes doesn't go away. So you need to try and get the best you can. It's a bit like England when they were appointing Tuchel. You get the best that's available. So I feel like we're getting backwards with managers. We keep just picking them up, building them up, sacking them, and then it's back to what we've back to the start in terms of the new manager comes in. He's got the old guys, players, name money to spend, and we just go around in this absolute merry-go-round. See if you could see progress. You could maybe forgive Philippe Clement, but I don't feel like we're seeing any progress at all. And he promised us so much, and I just feel like he's really failing to deliver. So huge question marks. So I think he's getting easy ride as well for the media. That, Luke Shanley had him after the game today. I don't think he asked any real difficult questions. No. I'd have been putting it right on him, saying, "Look, 1 goal and 4 away from home. What's going on, Philip? What, give us some answers." But I just think he gets a bit an easy ride, to be honest.
Completely, totally agree. Right, listen, I've got a few more super chats, but I want to play this. It's 2 minutes long. It's an excerpt for Sky Sports Scotland. I'm not playing manager stuff today, guys. I'm not doing it. I'm not listening to him. I don't care what he's got to say. That's how angry I am. But it's bad when Chris Sutton sits there with a straight face and doesn't try and slag or joke or do that back and forth with Chris Boyd. That's when you know how bad a position that Rangers are in, when Chris Sutton doesn't even feel the need to wind anybody up. But listen to this 2 minutes and then we'll discuss it.
It's not been good enough. I mean, you might be winning games of football. Rangers never dominate any game. Never. There's no intensity to play. There's no sharpness. They don't create anything. It's more hope that they're going to score a goal. The substitutions don't impact games. They are miles off it. And everybody thinks, oh, here he goes, he's having another goal, he's having another run. It's the truth. And the sooner people realise that ain't working, the better.
I just realised that they're playing a song in the background that will probably get us demonetised, so I can't keep that going. But just on Chris Boyd's point there, Robert, he's spot on. It's exactly what we've been saying. No, I'm angry and I'm pissed off and I'm frustrated, but I'm not surprised.
Listen, Chris Boyd is bang on a banana, isn't he? He's absolutely spot on his duty.
Thanks for making me laugh.
You can't get away from it. I think as well, I'm sitting there after the game thinking, but when was the last time we did actually dominate a team domestically? And you're getting back to that 5-0 against Hearts at Ibrox, where first half we were absolutely tremendous, but Since then, it's just, as he says, that you're turning up more in hope than anything else. We don't play quick enough. I've said that since day dot when he came in. You know, Postecoglou showed you win this league. You play fast football. You've got to try and shift teams about, and we don't do that. Maybe started okay first 10 minutes today. I feel that's been the case in a few games, but we don't sustain it for any length, and then it's just we revert back to type, and it's absolutely hopeless. So yeah, Chris Boyd, he him and Sutton actually made a bit of sense today, which is unusual for that pair on Sky, but they did make some sense today.
Yeah, they absolutely did, and that's when you know it's bad, Brian. When Chris Sutton's just been normal, because we've said before, look, when he does the English stuff, he's actually quite good. Mm-hmm. He makes good points. He doesn't try and wind anybody up, apart from Robbie Savage. But it's not difficult to wind Robbie Savage up, is it? And there's not a lot going on between the ears with him. But they made decent points. That there wasn't this shouting over each other. It was just simply. I mean, I think at one point Elie Barber tried to talk about the pitch as if the pitch made any difference. You know, it's a leveler. Blah blah blah. No, I'm sorry, I'm not interested in all that. See, if you're a professional football player, after 10 minutes, you deal with the pitch, right? You absolutely deal with it. But
I'm quite sure we've got Astros that we can train on.
Yeah, we do.
You know, so there's that excuse is right out the window for me. We know, every season when you're going there, the week before, you basically train on a plastic pitch to get acclimatized and sort of ready for playing on the bouncy plastic pitch. So that excuse just doesn't wash with me, I'm afraid. Yeah, going back to the Chris Sutton thing. Yeah, I mean, he's always the first one to, get the knife out and just sort of twist it and, have a wind up. But as you say, when he's very serious and, straight to the point, it's, then that the game's up, I'm afraid. That nobody believes this team are going to manage to do anything. You've got to look at even Motherwell in the Cup semi now. Is there a question mark over that now? Because at the end of the day, it's very difficult to see a win coming from anywhere.
Winning the Cup semi-final, Brian, then you're playing either Aberdeen or Celtic in the final, probably Celtic.
Exactly.
We're certainly not beating Celtic in a final. We're not beating Celtic right now. Come on.
Which is so Martin, see at that point, see what you say that we can't beat Celtic, then it's the game's a bogey, because
that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
that is the remit of any Rangers manager coming through the door. You've got to beat Celtic. End of. And if you can't do that, you're no good to us, no use to us.
No, absolutely not. And that's what Charles is saying. I said before a ball was kicked this season, we would win nothing. Need a boss of style of play, plus does the basics, but also heart and bottle, and it's not there.
See all the people that were like, calm down. We've got to, this rebuild stuff that, the manager's got to give given time. Well, at what point is the line in the sand where enough's enough? Is today the day, or do we let it go another week or so and more misery happens? So, when does the line in the sand come where everybody's had, like, 99.9% of people have had enough of the manager?
Yeah, well, I don't think today's the day. I don't see anything coming of this. But as I say, in 10 days' time, if it's another defeat, then the ante will be up and they'll be out to get him. There'll be no hiding place for him. I'd like to think, you'll need to answer questions and give some answers. I don't, as you say, Martin, you said you don't want to think about playing Aberdeen. I dread to think what the next Old Firm game could look like. It could be, it's at home as well. It could be absolutely horrific.
It's not. Do you know what? It's not even worth thinking about. Do you know? So do you know? You talk about, in the past about, your expectations for Rangers, and have expectations went down among supporters? Is it not the same as what it used to be years ago, where you expect to go into, if you were playing Barcelona or you were playing Real Madrid, you went in with the expectation of beating them, even though it wasn't part of reality. But that was just the expectations of being a Rangers fan, a Rangers player, a Rangers manager. That's all gone. Now, that is gone, because see, when you have got the majority of fans saying before a game, I'm not surprised, by the way, if you drop points or lose today, then you have lost the expectations that you used to have at your football club. That's where we are.
You listen to that interview with Ali and Sir Alex. I don't know if you've any just seen it, and it was the club's been built on expectation. Alex Ferguson attributed that to how successful he then became, in his managerial career, because of
he carried that with him throughout his career.
Exactly. Even Coisty said he would go to, when he left Rangers, he tried to build that into the clubs that he went after, or club he went after, should I say. So the foundation seemed to be rotten in terms of expectation, standard. You know, Bryan, highlighted that Leon Balogun fronted the post-match today. Yet again, the captain nowhere to be seen. So, like, I don't want to turn it into a Tavernier bashing, but I just think, as you say there, expectations have gone, which is really, really disappointing, because you've seen maybe the last kind of 4 or 5 weeks, supporters are voting with their feet. They're not going to the games.
Yes. And Ibrox is going to be a really quiet place now, by the way. A really, really quiet place. Unless Clement goes. And I honestly can't believe, Bryan, I'm sitting here one game after the international break, when in my head I had, no, look, he needs to be given time. He's got to try and get these players. I was kidding myself on. I was absolutely kidding. And it's amazing how one performance can completely change your full thinking. Because there was plenty of people, loads of people I know, members on the Discord group and all that, have been saying for a while, Clement's not a man. And I've been sitting thinking, guys, calm down. It's not that bad. You know, we're not that far behind. Look at last season, how close we came before we bottled it, blah, blah, blah. But no, it's bad, mate. It's really, really bad.
Yeah, I mean, that light at the end of the tunnel is disappearing very quickly, because you don't see much at the end, I'm afraid. And
the tunnel turned out to be a container ship, and the container ship doors have just shut.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's went dark, because I think everybody doesn't want to, jump to the gun, jump in too quickly, and be a bit rash.
Nobody ever, Bryan, wants to jump into a gun.
No, but jump the gun and sort of be rash and stuff like that. But I mean, it's at the point now that you can't really you can't carry on, because if you don't change something, nothing will change. They've obviously, I wouldn't say they're not behind the manager, because you can't say that, but it doesn't. The players don't seem to have any fight. They don't. I mean, the amount of times that they lost a ball and none of them sort of went after, try to run and like recover the ball or even put pressure on the player. They just kind of accepted that they've lost the ball and that was it, and they just sort of got up and just sort of jogged back. The little things like that, and just a bit of desire. I've always said, if you see some effort and desire in a team, you can get behind it. But when you don't see any of that, then it's a bad state. And then you've got a team like Kilmarnock, who under Derek McInnes know what they're doing, although their results have been poor this year. I mean, he's always got it in him to pull a result out of the hat, and he's done it today.
Right, the game itself then, Robert, from minute one, not much in terms of creativity. Kilmarnock doing what Kilmarnock do, what a Derek McInnes team does. They sit back. The odd occasion, Dessers, there was a ball played through to him. First touch dreadful. Couldn't hold the ball up. Bayrami, the first 5 minutes, maybe it looked like he could create something. He then disappears. Kilmarnock score an offside goal, which then kind of reignites them, and then they think to themselves, hold on a minute, all we have to really do here is put a ball into the box, and we've got them. We've got them on toast. It was just dreadful. The first half was just, and both halves really.
Look, I thought, especially first half, you touch on Dessers, he looks like a man that's no scored for now 5 games. He looked really, really desperate at times, and maybe not thinking rationally in terms of his positional play, and the chance when the ball was getting to his feet, he wasn't doing anything with it. So, the first half was. I was shocked that Bryan went off. Because I thought at the midfield 3 he was probably the better. maybe a 6 out of 10, no, a 4 or a 5. I think we're struggling in there in midfield. I really do. I don't think we've found a balance. I'm not. You mentioned at the start of the pod the 5 million man Diamandi. Without being overcritical, I think flatters to deceive at times. I don't know if that's because he's playing in a system that he doesn't know what he's meant to be doing. I just feel like he's no offering a hell of a lot. For 5 million quid came with a lot of promise, showed some wee glimpses early doors, but I don't think we've had a sustained period of consistency. But on the other hand, Barron's come in, took to like a duck to water. So I think midfield, could have done with an experienced head in there in the summer. Somebody came in and maybe kind of sit and let Diamandi push on one. But I think we're losing games in there. You touch on Bajrami. I think he struggled with a part today, as did Hefty. Don't think they could get to grips with it. And then you say you've got a striker at the up top that doesn't look like he's going to score you any goals at the minute.
No, we don't look like we're going to score at all. But the first, 10, 15 minutes, Kilmarnock had 2 clear-cut opportunities at goal. Firstly, Hefty with a header back towards the keeper. I've not got a clue what he's doing. And then Butland and Proper are in no man's land. Kilmarnock should score. It's an open goal 6 yards out. And then I think it was run about the 11th or 12th minute. What's his name? Noabi, I think his name is, on the left-hand side. Cross right across the front of goal, and Armstrong really should just tap it in. So we could be 2-0 down within 15 minutes.
2-3, could have been 3. You know what I mean? It really, as I keep saying, it was alarm bells right from the off, and nothing changed. He didn't change anything in the first half. As you say, I mean, it was Armstrong or whoever the cross whistled across the 6-yard line. As you say, that was just a begging for a tap in, and he was inches away from it. And that was, another great chance. And it's we never seem to make things difficult for teams. We always seem to invite pressure. We always invite crosses and chances. We never see if teams were cutting you open and playing around you. You'd sit or say, right, okay, fair enough. But when you're actually like handing them on a silver platter to people, that's when the worry comes. It's all sort of self-destructive defending. It really is, and nothing's changed for a long time now.
And then even in the last 10 minutes of the first half, Robert, Diomande he's fouled, but the referee doesn't give it initially, and Kilmarnock don't make the most of that either. And then a route one ball on the 45th minute, I think it's the 45th minute, right over Proper's head. I can't remember the boy's name. Is it Vassell or whatever?
Yeah.
Gets on the wrong side of him and blasts it over the bar. So, like Bryan saying, there was at least four or five easy chances for Kilmarnock in that first half.
See that's kind of route one long ball you're talking about. We really struggle to defend those, which we think we've got 2 big burly boys at centre half. Should we just get dealing with those? But you'll talk about the goal, I'm sure. John Souttar, again, I think he's had a decent start to the season, as you mentioned, a good night at Hampden, Marshall or Ronaldo, but he just couldn't marshal Marley Watkins or Vassell today, which is, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I'm still not, jury's still out on Proper for me. I don't know. I don't know if he's good, if he's no good. I really don't know. It's a difficult one, but look, as you say, first half was just atrocious. In terms of a game of football, it was honking. Derek McInnes was obviously listening to him after the game, delighted with how his team played, and he will do because they've got the win, and that's how they play. We know that, but you just feel like that this game was never going to be a classic. You just want to get in there, roll your sleeves up. You've got a chance to make up some ground on the leaders. They've dropped some points yesterday. You just roll your sleeves up and get the win whatever way necessary, and that's where you question the mentality. Okay, you can go on about the manager and setting out tactics, but the guys within the dressing room have got to just pull ourselves together and say, right, lads, see today, whatever, by any means necessary, we win this game, we take the 3 points, we put ourselves back in a good position to go up to Pittodrie in 10 days and match these.
Do you know, I don't even, and I might be wrong here, I don't even think it's mentality. I genuinely don't.
So what is it? Is it ability?
I think it's partly ability. And it's partly the direction from the manager, and it's just partly that I just don't think some of the players care. I'm not. I mean, I might be wrong.
That's worrying. Then that's really worrying. If the players don't care, we're in much bigger bother than I thought.
Well, let me ask you, Robert. Right, see if you watched that Kilmarnock team today when Kilmarnock had the ball. Right, the players are all over the pitch trying to make space and trying to create angles for passes. Right, or when they don't have the ball, they're back in their shape and they're fighting for the team. See, when we had the ball today, Dessers is standing on his toes. Bayrami's standing on his toes. Diomande in the middle of the park standing on his toes. Cherny out wide's just standing about doing nothing. There's no urgency. The players aren't interested.
Aye, look, you make a fine point. I forgot even Cherny had played in the game. He started all right, but then kind of faded as well. So, look, loads and loads of questions over a lot of players, and there has been for some time. This is nothing new, as we've said. It's just, where do we go from here? in the comments, people are saying, do you give him time? Do you give him one more game? Somebody said he's not going to get sacked. It's just, I don't think it. Who comes in and gets more out of them at the moment? Because you're not going to bring MD in. Who can come in and demand those standards from the players? Demand that they care. Is it Derek McInnes?
Oh, no, I don't. I'm not paid enough money to know. It's not my job to know. That's up to the Rangers.
But you can have an opinion. That's the purpose of the podcast.
I honestly don't know. Would Derek McInnes do a better job at Rangers right now than what Clement's doing? Yes. Yes, he would. Does that then mean that Derek McInnes is going to come in and be able to beat Celtic and be able to take us forward? I don't know. Would the Aberdeen manager right now come in and do a better job than Clement? Well, he already has done at Aberdeen. He's went to Celtic Park and after being 2-0 down, has he reverted back into his shell? No, he's come out the second half and went, do you know what? Let's go for this. Let's go and try and get back into the game. If that was Clement, is Clement trying to get back into that game at Parkhead, 2-0 down? No, he isn't. No, he isn't. So the answer to your question is there is loads more managers out there. Rhys McCabe could come into us right now and do a better job than what Clement's doing. But does that mean that Rhys McCabe's a man to take Rangers forward? No, it doesn't. So the questions need to be asked at board level. Oh, wait a minute. We don't have a fucking board.
I think the thing you've probably found is that the manager has obviously maybe underestimated the league. He's obviously thought that it was a far easier league than he's ever imagined, and he's now finding out that teams can come at you and get something off you if you don't set your team up properly and don't do things right. And he's now it's so bad that you're scratching your head looking around for a win now. You're looking at the next fixture and you're thinking, where's the next win coming from? And that's the problem. Is Robert's saying, the desire doesn't seem to be there. The tactical nous doesn't seem to be there. Nothing seems to be there, and that's when, as we've all said, that's when the game's gone. That's when the manager's time's up.
Oh man, Alex! People are bringing up Alex Ray. What's Alex Ray doing at our football club? Like, honestly, genuinely, what does the man do apart from sit there and look as if he's a hard man when he's no? He's about 4'2". You'd knock him out with a miss. What's he doing at our football club? Genuinely. I don't even know anymore. Second half, Bryan, we've seen the banner. The mismanagement of our club's got to stop now. I can't remember what the exact words were. Couldn't be any more spot on. And do you know what? Every single one of the away fans today deserves absolute credit, because from start to finish, they did not stop singing.
No. And it's the away fans are always tremendous. I mean, that's one thing you can never label them as not, getting behind the team. They always support them from minute one to the end of the game. And it's hard to disagree with the banner. It really is, because there's just, they're highlighting everything that everybody's thinking. You've got a board or half a board or a quarter of the board there just now, which is, that cannot be functional at any level right now. That can't be helping things either. I'm certainly not making excuses, but that can't be helping the manager at all. Again, we've said that sort of situation can't carry on, and it has. We haven't had a CEO since the summer. That's just mind-boggling that a position of that importance can go so long without being filled.
Brian, does the board situation need to be solved before we start hunting for a new manager?
I would say so, because who in that board are you going to trust to pick a manager?
So do we just keep the manager in there right now with a bunch of players that we've got, or do we get rid of him and try and promote somebody for the B team to look after the team and try and do something different with them? Or do the fans need to continue to watch that crap until the management people that they've brought in, the management staff, or whatever the terminology is, the recruitment management team, find us a CEO? So what, we need to continue to sit and watch that? Is that the position that we're in? Is that the position that Rangers Football Club, the biggest football club in Scotland, is in? Really?
Well, I mean, on you go, Brian.
On you.
I was going to say, like, it's either or, isn't it? Because if you go and sack the manager, you're trusting them to hire a new one. Then the new guy comes in, he's still dealing with the problems that Brian's highlighted, that Clement's dealing with the people above. They might deal with stuff that maybe is taking away some focus for what he should be doing, which is managing the group of players. So it's a difficult situation. Obviously, there's no right or wrong at the moment, but I just think that I think the board situation is paramount for me, because there's, as we said before, it's rudderless. There's no one steering the good ship.
Well, Charles has kind of contradicted himself in this super chat. Take the Aberdeen manager, but go for a British manager as well. So he's contradicted himself a bit there, Bryan.
Yeah, I mean, I hear a lot of people saying, get a British manager and get this. Well, Aberdeen have went and got somebody that isn't British and it's working for them. We've had foreign managers before and it's worked. So it's getting the right guy. I mean, I think everybody looked at his CV when he came in Kilmarnock and thought, right, this guy's won titles, where he's been at a couple of clubs. So, he knows how to get a league title over the line. But it's just, there's some managers just come to clubs and it just doesn't work. And it's almost, it just doesn't seem to be working now. And as I say, there was somebody in the comments earlier said that, I've been wanting to sort of bat the manager. I haven't really wanted to go against or, ask for him to get sacked. But at this point in time, you just cannot see a road out for him. You cannot see things getting better unless there's change.
Carroll's again, Dessers is a donkey end of. That's not fair, Robert, right? And by the way, again, Charles, thank you for the support, buddy. Really appreciate it. That's unfair. He's just not good enough.
Listen, he's done a job for us, and we've obviously needed him in terms of he was the only sort of body we had that was fit and firing. Obviously, Danilo's meant to be back in training, isn't he? Igamani, nowhere near the finished article. I think probably he's getting game time, earlier than expected, to be honest, due to that injury. Danilo had a wee kind of half chance, didn't he, late on? It was a nice work for Dow, wee pirouette, Zidane-esque, and then he pings a lovely ball, and it's a decent, cute little finish, but just wide. I think
but then what happens for the corner?
We've got problems, clearly, in attack, just to finish up on Charles's point. There's a man in Gorgie, obviously, he's running down his contract. We'll get with him. You're shaking your head there. But look, somebody needs to come in up front. We do need a new striker, somebody that's going to... I don't think Danilo's going to come back and, deliver on that £6 million price tag. I really don't, which is a shame.
And Charles, I think Charles is at the wind up with this one. Ask Moyes if he's interested. I very much doubt, Charles, that David Moyes is interested in coming into Rangers Football Club. But again, thank you for the support, my friend. VT Marsh, thank you for the support. Thanks, Martin and gang, for telling it like it is. It's not really telling... Well, I suppose it is, Bryan. We've got a platform we can come on and shout and scream and moan. It's not easy, but it's not. You don't want to be sitting here doing this.
No, you don't. You want to be coming here on and speaking about how the team's playing and how well they've performed, and getting 3 points, most weeks. But here we are, we're in a situation where the team's let us down once again, and it's beyond. For me, it's beyond repair now. I was always one to not get too hasty and back the manager as much as possible, but I'm afraid now I'm even at the point now I can't see a road out for him, and it's very difficult. We had Advocat back in the day, who was a foreign manager who won us trebles and stuff. So that's probably the only one that you could actually highlight that's the winner. But it just doesn't seem to. It's not working, and I'm afraid unless you make a change, nothing will change.
No. And Robert, the Van Pablo 79, good name actually. If Dessers played at Celtic or Aberdeen, he'd get 30 plus goals. I don't know if that's true, but all I do know, Robert, is that currently in this Rangers team is not one.
No, I think what Van Pablo's getting at is their creation is much higher than ours at the moment. I slightly disagree. Bryan picked up, said something earlier on in the get up to Aberdeen and the way they're playing. They've not, obviously they played well yesterday second half. See some of the, you look at the Ross County game, some of the games they've actually played poorly but still won. So they're not playing out their skin, I would say. They're obviously picking up results. I don't think they're infallible, but at the minute, with this team, you go up there and you don't fancy your chances in terms of turning them over. But just on Dessers, I just, as I say, there comes a point, he's going through this really poor patch. and I think he's maybe not thinking as naturally as he was when he was getting his goals. So, I think without his goals last season would have been a real worse scenario than we ended up in. So, I think short memories for football fans, but it's difficult to say. We've got no option. We have to play him. You're on mute, mate.
I know somebody's in the comments. I know they're joking, saying Craig Levine. Oh my god! And this just puts the icing on the cake, gents. For Lids Apaldo, it's the comments absolutely spot on. You've got players who aren't good enough, not listening to a manager who's not good enough, who's not being supported by a board that's not good enough, Brian. I mean, you can't put it any better than that.
Nothing is. It's as simple as that. Nothing's good enough. Everything's going wrong, manager-wise, player-wise, board-wise. It's dysfunctional from the top to the bottom, as a lot of us have said for a long time now. It's just a complete shambles, and how nobody, I just don't see how any of these board members who are currently left are either happy with what's happening or accepting what's happening. You shouldn't accept anything that's happening at Rangers just now.
This same board, Brian, who just gave the manager a year's extension.
Why? Why did they do that? I mean, what was the point? Another decision that's just shambolic. I mean, why give him an extra year? I mean, that's just tightening the noose around the manager, the board members' necks. It's more
that was clearly because he'd been sort of kind of flogged a dead horse and what he was going to get in terms of recruitment and a budget. I think he's obviously, there's been a conversation and to soften it, they've given him a new deal. That's the only reason I can think of, Brian, surely.
But even at that's no excuse. I know you're not making that excuse, Robert, but that just leads into more of the point that that's no excuse for the performance today or for the recent results.
No, listen, it's a separate issue, isn't it? The performance today is just not acceptable. And come on, I don't know if you saw the post match on Sky. He spoke about not capitalising on it or dominance. What dominance?
What dominance?
what dominance, Phil? Because we did not dominate that football match at any point. So this is what I'm saying with red flags. Like I do feel like sometimes he comes out and he's seen a different game. Would you agree with that?
Oh, he has to be, or he's lying. It's one of the two. There's no other option.
Beale was called out for bluffing. That's why he went in the end. And I feel like Clement is bluffing at times.
Well, it says everything when people are not wanting to watch his post match because they've heard the same stuff over and over. I mean, at the very start when Clement was, when he started, everybody was itching to watch his post match or his pre-match sort of post conferences, and now nobody's wanting to watch them because they know the drivel that's going to come out, and it's just repeat all over, and again, when I go back to when people are starting to switch off and not go to games and take a disinterest, there's only one thing going to happen, and the manager goes.
Right, final point then, guys, because we've not even really went into much of the game or individual players like we usually do on these reactions. And just before we get into the final point, thank you to all the new people who have tuned in. I am well aware it won't all be Rangers supporters, but thank you for tuning in anyway. Please do like, share and subscribe if you enjoy the content. And if you're in the position to and you want to, then please consider joining up as a member on either YouTube or Patreon. Links for both are in the description. Right now, we're on at least 5 or 6 members shows a week, and we're hoping to get more people in, and we're hoping to get more members shows out as well. I know this isn't the right time to ask, but if anybody out there thinks I could do that, I could be on a podcast, I could sit there and talk nonsense for an hour, then email rangersrabble@gmail.com, rangersrabble@gmail.com. And I'll get back to you. We'll set up a meeting. We'll have a conversation and we'll see if we can get you on the pod. Right, Robert, what does the next week look like for Rangers?
Well, obviously, we're on to Europe on Thursday night. Stoya are coming to town. As you said, it'll just be tight, an empty ground almost, and you just try and get back to some sort of standard in winning ways if you can. I think we do play better in Europe, as a rule. You mentioned about obviously teams like Barcelona coming and having that expectation. I think there's a bit better expectation when it comes to European matches given the recent record. So it'll be interesting to see how we get through that. The Sunday's game against St Mirren is just non-negotiable. See if there's a slip up there. It's, as I say, it's unthinkable. They were really poor yesterday. Stephen Robinson saying it's the worst display he's seen since he's been at club. So we should dispatch them without any real difficulty, you'd imagine. But it's leader. It's got. Say again, sorry. Saying it with a bit of confidence. I think see, the trouble is, all it does is paper over the cracks, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Because eventually, because you'll get the bounce of, let's just say we get a decent result on Thursday night, and then you beat St Mirren, and he'll be out giving it, his chest will be pumped out, and he'll be giving it all the patter. But then that Wednesday night fixture is just looming, and I think it's looming large.
The alarm bells were going for me when he came out with the patter that, we beat Ross County 6-0 last week, so team's all right. That was one of the times that I actually sat up and thought, well, hold on a minute here, he's starting to come out with some pish. That was the moment I was really starting to get worried.
And
it's a red flag, isn't it?
It's a total red flag, and it's a red flag that I never really paid attention to, and now it's came back to bite me on the arse. We'll leave it there, folks. It's been sort of therapeutic in a way, but we've got the SPFL show tonight at 7:30, which should be fun. I'm looking forward to that. It's right here on the Rangers Rabble YouTube channel. We discuss all the games. It's not Rangers focused at all. We discuss all the games, and we try and be as across the line and unbiased as we possibly can. So everybody give the show a like, subscribe on your way out, as Astrid says in the comments. Thank you for tuning in. Check out our sponsors, Kitbag. The links for all their stuff's in the description. A massive thank you to Kitbag for sponsoring the podcast. First time I've mentioned them, actually, to be honest, as Bryan starts watching stuff on his phone before I finish up. So thank you, Bryan. So yeah, folks, thank you for tuning in. Not an easy one today. We are back tonight at 7:30 and tomorrow for the afternoon rabble, and we're all week of absolute misery. So yeah, folks, thank you, and we'll speak soon.